So I just want to show you one other way to do completing the square. I don't prefer this way. I actually like the other way I showed you first. But some people like this way a lot better. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So we're going to go ahead and start with this one as y equals. It wouldn't make any difference at all in this case if it was 0 equals, if you were solving an equation, versus completing the square. So let's just go ahead and get started here. The way this one works is we don't use the left-hand side. Instead, what we're going to do is everything on this side. And to do that, what we're going to kind of do here is split up this function. So we're going to take this plus 5 and kind of just hold it out here, and we're going to keep everything else in here. Now, just like before, we can't have this 2, and so the way to deal with that without moving everything over to the other side is to factor that 2 out. So we have 2 times x squared minus 2x. I'm going to leave a little gap there. Hope you know why. In this case, the plus 5 doesn't change because we only factor the 2 out from here. Next step is going to be to complete the square. And so I know, just like last time we did this, minus 2 divided by 2 is 1, squared is 1, so I'm going to add 1 here. Now the thing is, I didn't really add 1 to this function. What I did was I added 2 times 1. So I actually added 2 to this equation. And because of that, I need to balance the equation out so it's still the same. And what I need to do that is I need to subtract 2 from over here. Because again, this isn't 1, it's 2 times 1. And so I'm subtracting 2. Now from there, just like before, I'm going to know that this is going to be a perfect square. In this case, x minus 1 times x minus 1, so x minus 1 squared. And then we've got our 5 minus 2, which is 3. So in this case, it actually usually comes out taking up a little bit less space. You're doing all of the same steps, essentially. Just a lot of it's happening in the fact that you took 2 times 1 and got 2, rather than having it happen over here on the other side of the equation. So this usually is something that people do more often when they are completing the square to solve a function or rewrite a function in vertex form. And of course, it's going to work in this case over here as well. And actually, it's going to be a little bit easier in this case because there's no factoring to worry about. So we just have x squared minus 6x, leave a little gap, plus 13. In this case, to complete my square, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9, so I'm going to add 9 here. And because I actually did add 9, I'm just going to go ahead and subtract 9 on this side. Now we know that this part here factors as x minus 3 squared, and 13 minus 9 is, plus 4. So a little bit shorter, but I actually prefer the other way, just because it helps me keep track of everything, and I don't lose track of the fact that, here this is actually 9, but over here, even though I wrote plus 1, I needed to realize that it was actually adding 2, and so I have to subtract 2 to fix my function.